We are fixing the nation. We do it one conversation at a time every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's Mariam Bishar, Janet Bogwa, Eric Latif. Today, Janet is away, but Mariam and I are here. And before we start our next conversation with the Deputy Minority Leader in the National Assembly, let's give you our news fix. President William Ruto yesterday handed over the new Kamuwongo Fresh Produce Market to the county government of Kitui and launched the tarmacking of the Kamuwongo Kandewa road during his tour of the Mwingi North. Local leaders and traders attended the event, which the president said will boost trade and improve market access for farmers. The visit is part of the president's wider tour of Ukambani, coming amid heightened political activity as both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio intensify their scramble for the influential Ukambani vote ahead of the 2027 election, which is what we'll be discussing with the MP shortly. So yeah, he started with Makueni, he's gone to Kitui, he will be in Machakos today.
Right. Hiya, Basi. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Robert Mbui is in studio with us already. Lakini before that, an assistant chief has been suspended over the Kasipul by-election chaos. An assistant chief in Rachuonyo South has been suspended from public service after he was found actively participating in the Kasipul parliamentary by-election campaigns. The administrator allegedly hosted rival political teams at his home last week, where violence broke out between supporters of ODM's Boyd Were and independent candidate Philip Aroko. The clash left 2 people dead and several others injured. Homa Bay County Police Commander, that's Lawrence Koimes, says that investigations are ongoing and warned that further action will be taken if the officer is directly linked to the violence. The Ministry of Interior has reiterated its ban on civil servants engaging in partisan politics, especially during the tense by-election period. So Chief Alileta, was he maybe attempting peace broker? I don't know. I don't know why I'm excusing it, but hosting rival factions at your home is quite... hosting politicians at your home anyway, as a chief, I would say it's very worrisome.
You know, I'd actually want to understand what exactly the chief, the assistant chief wanted, because he was hosting both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
He was hosting them at his home. So it's not like he's taking political sides. So what exactly was he doing? What was the intention?
Was he trying to broker something?
Yeah,
some
I wonder.
And then things went south. In which case, he could have hosted them at the chief's office. I don't know. CJ, honestly.
But I still ask myself this question of why so quick to get violent? Right. So quick. Because like I said, it's you and I, Mariam. We go, so you support Boyd, I support the other guy, and then we meet and we start fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fighting to the point that it leaves 2 people dead.
Yes. Munakatana mapanga. But you know, our guest, he's been in politics for a while. He may be able to explain to us, I mean, what is this, what kind of raw emotion is this that drives people to that level? Robert Mbui, MP Kathiani, Deputy Minority Leader in the National Assembly, member and leader in the Wiper Patriotic Front Party. Good morning.
Morning, Latif.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
So before Mariam gives you the quote on behalf of Jano, are you able to explain and understand why people are so quick to get into violence over politics?
I actually, Latif, I have no idea, because I've been in politics now from 2013 up to date, and there has never been a fight in any of my functions, any of the elections. I don't understand why such raw emotion and such violence. After all, I think Kenyans need to understand it's not a matter of life and death. You know, elections come and go, but life must continue. So for people to fight and to kill each other just over an election, I think it's really totally uncalled for. So I would advise that we be careful how we do this thing. Let's listen to opponents. Let's give them a chance to say what they have to say. I recently went to Tharaka Nithi with my party leader, and we were shocked. Some young men who had been given a lot of alcohol, were completely, you know, intoxicated. They couldn't even control themselves, and came and completely stopped us from addressing a rally. And my party leader said, because we were also quite many, and you know, the politics, you travel with a lot of young men because of security, which isn't right, unfortunately. And so our young men wanted to react, and my party leader said, no, we cannot do that. Let us leave, because if they don't want to listen to us, so the women were shouting, no, you talk to us, but the young men were making a lot of noise. So he refused to allow any form of violence, and we left. That was Marimanti in Tharaka, and that is the kind of, I think, politics we want to practice as a people.
Yeah. I think it should be the kind of politics we practice as a people. Before we talk about Ukambani politics, the quote of the day today comes from Lupita Nyong'o. She said it while speaking at the AU Youth Summit in Addis Ababa in 2016. And she said, democracy is not a spectator sport. Democracy is not a spectator sport. What does that say to you? You've just started giggling.
Spectator sports. Well, I think there's I don't know what she means, but spectator sports are those ones that there's no contact. So I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what she meant, but I guess democracy. I think what she really means is that every one of us should not sit back and watch. When you're seated at the couch, you'll be there saying, that person did not score, they should have scored. No, that ball should have been stopped. That goalkeeper should have, So when you're seated at the comfort of your couch, you have a lot of, more about the game than that fella should have tackled the opponent and made that try. I love rugby. So that's, I think, what she means, that this is not a sport you want to sit and just watch. You have to participate. So in politics, instead of making noise, in democracy, instead of making noise and saying we have the worst leaders, we have and you give your leaders names, we have one that we have given almost 5 names since he was elected, and we are
so doing nothing about it.
So instead of just giving him names, go register as a Kenyan, register as a voter, and then participate actively by talking to people, and on that day get out and cast your vote.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's what she meant.
In short, unaweza one time hadi your voice goes now, hoarse, but if you don't do anything about it, then the one term doesn't become one term. So if you're saying one term, then you must make it one term, not just by talking, but by action.
Alafu tusema waliiba kura ya nani na ukupiga kura.
It's true.
And I must say this, that you saw in 2024 and in June 2024 we were invaded in parliament by a lot of young Kenyans, and rightfully so, because we were desecrating the nation, and they came to parliament, chased us all out like burukenge. I don't know how burukenge are chased, but
burukenge ni lizard, sindio?
Monitor
lizard specifically. Sawa. Nitakuonyesha picha ya an animal niambia kama hiyo ni burukenge. Go on.
We were chased out of the house by these young Kenyans. Now, an opportunity has arisen where they can register as voters for the next election. And I can tell you the turnout is very low. It is shockingly low. Because even the ones that just came to parliament, if only those ones registered, the numbers would be very high. So I think there's a lot of young people that want to do their politics over the phone, but it's important that they get out and let's get to the trenches and work together. Let them get out there, register as voters, and as you participate even online, at least be ready with that tool that can help you. Because yes, you can say it a lot on social media, but then if you don't cast your vote, that person you didn't want will be the one that will be elected.
True. Mheshimiwa, the president is in Ukambani. He had scheduled this tour for Ukambani to coincide with the Mashujaa Day, which happened in Kitui. But then the passing of Raila Odinga disrupted that. And when on Mashujaa Day, he said, I know you were not there. I'm telling you because I was watching. He said, I promise you in 2 weeks, I'll come back and do that tour. So here he is. He's doing the tour. We've just done a news fix. Yesterday, he opened the market. He's among those that he had said, we're going to open, we'll launch a road. He's going some places, and MCA is reminding him, where you promised. And he says, Waziri wa Barabara, can you get the money? We start this thing by February and do the road here, the market here, the bridge there, and so on and so forth. He will be in your county today, Machakos, so he may come to Kadiani. But one of the things that he's talking about is Ukambani needs to get more involved in government, so that you stop, getting the short end of the stick when it comes to development, and you just stop being in the opposition.
You know, Latif, let me. I want to agree.
And he's
with
not
you.
saying that you form government. He's saying you join.
No. He actually said we've been in opposition for long, and I agree. We are in opposition. We've been in opposition for too long, but it's in less than 2 years we are likely to be forming government. So we are not very concerned. The other issue is this, Latif. You know, it's important that we address these facts. That once you get elected, if my party leader becomes president of the Republic of Kenya, the people from Rift Valley, Nandi and Bomet and Elgeyo Marakwet and you know, all those counties
And Kapseret.
should not be disadvantaged just because their person did not win the presidency. Now the current president is making it clear to Kenyans that, you know, if your person doesn't become president, then you are disadvantaged. That's what he's saying. But ideally, whoever becomes president has an agenda, and the agenda they have is not only for the people that vote for them. It's not only for the people that come from their regions. It's for every Kenyan. So when he keeps telling us that you know, you have to join government, he is going totally against the you know, the democracy. In this, you know, democracy is that the winner will have his way, but the loser will also have their say. The problem with him is that he wants everyone to come into one government. I think the hang-ups of the hangovers from KANU are still with him, because KANU was you know, one-party state. We have moved from that. We've moved into multi-party democracy where you can have as many parties as possible. So this idea that everybody should join government, I think, in my opinion, is not even a positive thing. In fact, I'll tell you this. If we were all to join the Kenya Kwanza coalition today, I can tell you the young men would be out there in the streets tomorrow. So it is okay for us to have an opposition, because then we can be able to tell the country when they are trying to sell all our assets, we can be able to at least sound it out. The ones that are part of government will not be able to say it. Yesterday I was thrown out of the house for trying to say that the house cannot conduct business when we are not properly constituted, when we have less than 50 members in the house. The speaker, deputy speaker, refused to allow me to recognize me and to give me an opportunity to raise on a standing order 35 that says that if the house has less than 50 members and the attention of the speaker is drawn to that fact, then they have to raise quorum or suspend the sitting of the house. And at that time, we are passing very, very serious bills. You know, government-owned enterprises bill is on the order paper, being debated by 10, 15 people.
What?
And when I raised that, I was thrown out for 5 days. I'm actually now currently not...
welcome at Parliament Road.
If I'm seen there, they'll kick me out. Like a burukenge.
Like a burukenge. So, hey, hold up. But then can a law be discussed, without quorum, essentially?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. And you see, the speaker is not supposed to see whether there's quorum or not. That's not their job. It should be brought to their attention. But if the speaker refuses to allow you to draw to their attention that fact, then what do you do?
That's a problem.
So, of course, they say I was disorderly. I wasn't disorderly. I just wanted to stop the proceedings of the House because I felt that the House was being illegally run. And you cannot run an illegality and pass bills that have far-reaching consequences for the citizens of this country. So it's unfortunate, but I'm saying that we can't all belong to one political party. We can't all join government. Let there be government. Let there be the minority or the opposition to call them out when they do mistakes.
You said it's a hang-up of KANU days that maybe the president has. Is it not a hang-up of also the late Raila Amolo Odinga's way of doing politics?
No, it isn't really, because even when Raila was there was also an opposition. There was always an opposition. But you know, from what I understood from the late Prime Minister, is that he got in when things were, when the situation got very volatile, when he got to the point of violence and he thought that he needed to stabilize. That is the time he would get into government. But even then, if you notice that when ODM seemed to have gone into a relationship with Kenya Kwanza, first and foremost, they clearly indicated that they have not formed a coalition. That means ODM remains in Azimio, which means they are still part of the minority. Despite them having given or donated a few experts to the broad-based,
which is why Junet is your leader. Of the minority.
And Junet Mohammed is the leader of the minority. So basically, for all intents and purposes, that means he should be helping us to checkmate the government. So ideally, he didn't completely move. But what William Ruto wants is for all of us to move so that we are kind of in one party state and there's no opposition. But he also goes against his own promise. He told Kenyans that he wants a strong opposition so that when anybody in his government makes a mistake, the opposition can call them out. That's what he said. But the first thing he did immediately got into office, he procured our members. You know, within a week, we were looking at behind us for the army and there was no one behind. People had crossed over. And they continue crossing over. So, I mean, some of us will still remain where we are and be fair to the Constitution of the Republic and to the citizens. But ideally, I don't think he wants to practice democracy. He wants to have a situation where you can have one person running the country with everybody calling him sir.
Let me ask you, Mheshimiwa. You said that Ukambani has been in the position for too long.
Yes.
When was it in government? Was Ukambani ever in government? Yes,
we were in government when my party leader was the vice president from 2007 to 2013. After the elections, then Uhuru Kenyatta came in TNA. Then again Uhuru won in 2017 in now Jubilee, and Ruto in 2022 in Kenya Kwanza. So for about the last 3 elections we have lost. But I can tell you, we don't go to the elections to go into the opposition. We make our decision thinking that that is the best decision. We supported Raila in 2013, 2017, and 2022. We felt that he was going to win, and we knew he had the right attitude, and he had the right intentions for the country. Having been a person who was one of the strongest defenders of human rights, we knew under his term people will not be killed unnecessarily. He will not raise taxes, you know, unfairly. And there would be fairness in how we run the country. And that's what we were looking at. And that's why we supported him. So we were not supporting Raila to go to opposition. We are supporting Raila so we go into government. We didn't make it, but that doesn't also make us bad.
Can I ask, you say that, you know, Ukambani has been in opposition for too long, but you also say that if your party leader was to become president in 2027, that, you know, he'd be there representing all of Kenya. I don't know, those two things, they're not really a contradiction, but there is a, you know, Bado, it's Ukambani that has been in the opposition for too long. It's not all...
It's not Kalonzo. And Robert Mbui.
It's Ukambani.
It's Ukambani.
You know, I think it's all a matter of perception. The truth be told that the majority members from the Lower Eastern or Mount Kenya South, as we call it now, are from Wiper Patriotic Front. And members of Wiper Patriotic Front basically are the ones that have been with party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. And we lost the election in 2013. We don't believe we lost, but we didn't form government in 2013, 2017, and 2022. So that's where we find ourselves. But what I'm saying is this. When your party forms government, of course, it's a good thing. If your party doesn't form government, then you find yourself in the minority. It's not a very good thing. But I'm just saying that it's not a matter of life and death. Whoever becomes president, and this I'm saying because William Ruto is a president today, he has to spread out development across the whole country. And I'm saying this because he's been talking to our community as if it is a favor that he's doing to us. It's not a favor. The people from Lower Eastern are paying taxes just like every Kenyan. You go to Kathiani Market, they're paying taxes just like in Kapsaret. So you cannot come to Kathiani and tell people, oh, you know, you have to be in government so that you can get services. Because that's the implication, that if you're not in government, you're not getting services. Honestly, that flies in the face of democracy and flies in the face of proper governance of a nation. He must provide the services to all and sundry because that is the responsibility that he took up. So the difference between, I can say this, if he is president and we are president, the difference is not that he will do development that we will not No, it is in the soft issues. I don't know, we call them the issues to do with how we handle human rights, how we handle the tax whatever regime of the country. Those are some of the areas where there will be a difference, because we don't believe that he has the interests of Kenyans at heart. And even this idea of selling state corporations, I think that's self-serving, you know. So I think for me, even if we were in government, the development agenda would be similar, because we do the same things. But then we are unlikely to abduct children, we are unlikely to kill them, we are unlikely to trample on the rights of Kenyans. That would be the difference.
It should not really matter to Mutiso in Kathiani whether you're in government or in the opposition. Basically, the government should serve Mutiso the same way. Okay?
Yes.
But you're complaining that you've been in the opposition.
No, I'm not complaining. He's the one who's been complaining. Actually, Eric Latif, you're the one who said...
Or you're stating a fact that you've been in the opposition.
Yes,
for a
I'm
while.
stating a fact, yes.
Okay. Now, and the president has come there and he said, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm serving all of Kenya. That's why he even said, let's have these celebrations in Kitui. I know the local leadership here is not in my party, is not in leadership of government, but let's do this. Let's open this market, let's open this road, let's open these bridges. He's doing exactly what you're saying that he should do.
Yes, he's doing, but he's pretending that it's a favor.
He's also at the same time doing what you would do if you were him, which is campaign using those goodies.
No. I don't think we'd be campaigning using those goodies. I think that's where we draw. That's the part where I draw the line. When the president stands up and pretends that he's doing a favor.
If you were William Ruto, and you were going to Ukambani, that you know did not give you many votes in the last election, and you'd like the people here, the voters here, to give you more votes this time, how would you convince them?
I don't think it's possible for William Ruto to convince us, because so if I was him, I would not be able to convince them, because I know I know the feeling on the ground.
You're saying right now he's not making inroads.
No. It's all optics.
20th ilikuwa Mashujaa.
Let me tell you, it's all optics. You know what?
The stadium looks full.
Let me tell you. Oh my goodness, stadiums are always full because there's a lot of people actually that are unemployed out there that are also, you know, are also doing very badly financially, especially under the current tax regime that has, you know, if you are not aware, William Ruto has raided Kenyans' pockets, particularly those that earn salaries. 6 times since he became president. 6 times Kenyan salaries have dropped. So on the basis of that, obviously, people have less disposable income. So if he is coming and he normally comes in with goodies, and we are not talking about the road and the bridge and the transformer he's coming to launch. We are talking about some little money going into people's pockets. Hard cash. So people, you go anywhere in this country and you say you have money to dish out, and tell me who will be left in their house. So I mean, I looked at the crowds and I thought they should have been like 10 times more. Yeah, I personally, if I just that now I've been thrown out of the house, probably next time he's somewhere, I'll just put on a mask and go there and also queue. There's money to be dished out. so people will not, you know, the reality is that people don't go because they believe in him. Many of them are going because there's money being given out, and they're being ferried from all over the region. So I mean, look at you've seen the photos of the buses and the lorries loading people. So I mean, it's a perception thing. So you want to show that you're popular. So you want the people from where you come from and every corner of the country to think the people from Lower Eastern have embraced you. So you make sure that you spend a lot of money. There's a lot of people in your meeting. Then unfortunately, what is done wrong, and I would have advised him if we're in talking terms. The one of the mistakes he's made, which I think is incurable in our region, he has gone and insulted the leaders from that area.
How?
He says they have no brains. Hawana akili. You know, no brains. Can you imagine?
I saw that bite,
Can you imagine somebody without a brain? You know, that person can't function at all in any way. They can't walk, they can't eat. You know, they have no brain. I don't even know whether they can breathe.
I actually saw that bite.
It's not once.
There was a female MP who stood up and said, no, don't insult us. Usiseme ati sisi ambao tuko upinzani tuna akili. And he said, ni sawa, lakini unajua si mimi nimesema, ni hao watu wamesema. Mmesemaje? Viongozi wenu ni wazuri? Hapana. Wako na akili? Hapana.
Allah?
No. Eric, I don't know.
Sio mimi nimesema. Ni wapi?
Only that I agree with you is that he said ni hao wamesema. But he didn't ask them. He actually said ni hao wamesema. Then he proceeded to tell them. Si mumesema hawana akili, mumesema ni wapumbavu, mumesema sijui ni hawana agenda. He's the one who was telling them, not them telling him.
Ilikuwa lini?
Let's take a break. We'll look for that. 28 minutes after 7, we are having a conversation with a member of parliament from Kathiani constituency, Robert Mbui. He is also the deputy minority leader in the National Assembly, a leader in the Wiper Patriotic Front Party. We are asking ourselves, is there a scramble for Ukambani? In fact, no, that's what we are saying. There's a scramble for Ukambani. We actually want to ask him, is there a scramble for Ukambani? We'll be back after this break.
Financial freedom. What exactly does that mean? Like by the time we look at someone and say, this person has achieved financial freedom.
I'd like to say that each one of us have a particular number. That number that equates to an amount of passive income coming in on a monthly basis, and that is able to cover your expenses.
For me to create that particular amount, what do I need to set in place?
Getting capital from banks is the hardest thing for startups.
Okay.
No one is willing to lend to startups.
For such wholesome conversations, join me, Mukali Mary, and Winnie Lubembe on Your World, Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on NTV.
This week on The Soccer Way, from a church bench to billions.
To me, reminds me of my very humble beginning. As a family, we started in a very humble way.
Nilianza nikiwa soja, nikaenda nikakuwa makanga. Sasa mimi ni dereva na niko na magari zangu, so usiogope kuingia United Winners Sacco.
I was able to carry some loans from that Sacco, which I was able to construct about some rentals. So I appreciate them for what they have been able to do to me, and even continue encouraging others to be able to borrow from them.
So join United Winners Sacco, tukue pamoja.
For more stories of faith, growth, and empowerment with UWS Sacco, catch the episode this Friday at 7:40 p.m. only on NTV.
Education is the foundation of every dream, and the future starts here. This November, the 4th edition of the Private Schools Expo brings together Kenya's top private schools, innovators, and parents under one roof. Explore the best schools for your child, enjoy exciting competitions, and engage in inspiring discussions shaping the future of education. From exhibitions and curriculum guidance to networking and talent showcases, there's something for everyone. Join us for the 4th Annual Private Schools Expo and Conference on November 21st and 22nd, 2025 at Sarit Expo Center, Nairobi from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Entry is free for the general public.
Macros have been extremely stable and predictable. And I think for me, that has created a very, very conducive environment for business and investment to actually take place. We're just at the conclusion now of the EABL medium-term note. Again, a very good re-entry into the market and to just start giving alternative asset classes to actually come into place. What is being done on roads, bonds, and the way all that thing is being structured. And I think what stimulates investment in that area is just that level of predictability that even with a long tenor, there's certainty around where the repayments are going to come from. Fixed income, I guess, depends on how people are planning their portfolios. I still see opportunity, especially on the further end of the curve. I think those yields are still attractive.
Greetings at Nation FM, greetings at NTV, greetings at Nation Fixers, all the panelists, Eric, Mariam, and Jeno. Greetings from Kangemi. Here is Nicholas once again. Peace is everything. Let's continue praying for Tanzania during this election time, although they have done with it, but let's pray for peace in Tanzania. Let's pray for peace in Uganda. Let's pray for peace in Kenya. Let's pray for peace in Africa. Let's pray for peace in the whole world, because without peace, nothing is possible. Greetings.
Thank you, Nicholas, for that What's Up Nation video. Thank you so much. As always, Kangemi yako inakaa vizuri sana. Yani lush and green and beautiful. And you've told us what you're doing to fix the nation, and you're absolutely right. Peace within the region, at home and abroad, so that jumuiya ikue ya, you know, mambo ya peace pia. Yes, not just chaos every once in a while. Send your What's Up Nation to 0112 500 400. That's 0112 500 400. You could, for example, say, my name is Robert Mbui, and my bit in fixing the nation is ensuring that the people of Kadweni are properly represented in parliament and that we have an active and vibrant opposition. You send that to 0112 500 400. And I hope Robert will be sending us his singing.
I will.
Ama kama nimedanganya pia, can correct.
Yeah.
But we're in conversation with the MP for Kathiani and discussing matters Ukambani politics, the scramble for it, as we're calling it, trying to figure out what exactly that scramble looks like. Also in national politics, we are trying to move away from regional, tribal politics, but it seems that that is our default, and that for sure is how we're going. But how do we fix that? How do we make sure that we are all represented fairly, regardless of who is in power? So, Robert, quick question. When you see this scramble for Ukambani politics that's happening right now, who wins? Let me start there.
I think the people win. The people win because right now a lot of money is being poured in the region, and obviously the common mananchi is a beneficiary of that scramble. And we want them to keep coming so that they can keep dishing out those handouts that they have been doing. They have been all over the place, you know, with a regime. This is a regime that believes in handouts. They were there before doing, they call it empowerment. Empowerment, and so the empowerment for women groups, empowerment for youth groups, particularly border. They've done quite a bit of that. Unfortunately, they're doing this despite the fact that you know, capitation for our secondary schools has not been sent to schools. They're doing that despite the fact that you know, the university lecturers have been out of a job, and almost all universities were at a standstill for the longest period. They're doing that despite the fact that you know, money is being stolen from our share system. So they seem to be having money to dish out, yet at the same time the very important you know, social services like education and health are failing. So sometimes I begin to wonder what exactly is the agenda for this regime. Because yes, you can give me 100 shillings, 200 shillings, 1,000 shillings, but that's money I'll consume in a day or two. But the most important things like the education of our children and the health of our citizens are not being sorted out as they should. Also, the problems we are facing with you know, the human rights, you know, when you know, I don't know whether you are aware that up to now there are still a lot of Kenyans that went missing during the period of abductions. Their parents who up to now do not know whether their children are alive or dead. And obviously such a parent, it's even better for that parent who is brought the body of their child and told this one was shot by the police and killed, than that one whose child disappeared. So they can't have a closure, because they don't know whether they are alive somewhere or they are dead. So we have a regime that, in my opinion, is completely wrong. And so when we are doing this scramble, they must realize that what they are doing is superficial, and that the people will be happy to take the money today. But when it comes to making that decision of who do they elect, they are unlikely to elect a regime that has been so punitive towards them. So I don't think this Scramble is anything to shock anyone. I think this is a regime that is fighting for its, for its space. Because, I mean, ideally, wherever you travel, I've been to all over the country. Everywhere you go, people are saying it's one term for this regime. So I think they have to also, attempt to show that they still have some kind of popularity. But I think they're doing it in the wrong way. I think they need to go back to the office. The president needs to go back to his office and put the country in the right direction. That is what I would advise him. But this thing of being on top of his vehicle, he did that for 5 years when he was deputy president and left Uhuru to run the country with Matiang'i. He was on top of his vehicle for 5 years, campaigning. And once
he would argue Uhuru sidelined him, so he was left with no
Uhuru didn't
option.
sideline him. In fact, Uhuru, if you remember Uhuru's comments in 2017, immediately after the election, he said, ask my deputy, anatangatanga. What is kutangatanga? He's not in office, he's out there campaigning. And surely we saw immediately after the election, he started calling meetings of leaders to start strategizing for his election. And that's what he's done even now when he was elected president. He started immediately planning for the next election. So the problem we have is a president who is a perennial and permanent campaigner. That's what we are facing. And everything he says during campaign period is an attempt to woo the voter. Everything he says immediately after being elected is also an attempt to woo the voter again for the next election. That's what he's good at.
Right.
But Moesh, so he's now sitting president. Are you saying that the president should not go to the ground?
No, I'm not saying that, Latif. He should go to the ground, but the president should spend a little bit more time in the office organizing the country, figuring out how the money will reach schools, figuring out a model that would help our university students, figuring out how to stop the loss of funds in SHA, figuring out how to deal with the complaints that the young people have instead of sending police to kill them and giving instructions to shoot them on the legs. They shot Rex Masai on the leg, he died. So I'm just saying that the president is spending all his time figuring out how to be re-elected.
Right.
That's where the problem is. And I think if you become president and you spend your time doing what people elected you to do, it would be easy to be re-elected. But if you spend all your time trying to figure out what lie to give here, what to do, why would you go out there to launch a bridge and a transformer?
Because honestly, that's see their leader. Is that not our politics? No. Let's actually be very objective here. Let's remove William Ruto from the picture, okay? What is the nature and organization of our politics? People want to see their leader on the ground. And people consider development as these tangible things. You face that, I'm sure, as an MP in your constituency, right? When you go to your constituency and tell people, I was in Parliament yesterday and I was trying to catch the attention of the speaker because there's some bills that are passing, people will be like, sasa lakini huyu anafanya kazi gani hapa kwetu?
Right.
True?
But if you come and say, these 2 classrooms, nimewajengea.
Tumejenga hii na CDF.
I think it's something people must learn. I've been elected. I'm on my 3rd term. I spend a lot of time talking to the people when I speak to them about what we do in the assembly. And a very small part of what I do is actually the development, because I personally do not have any money per se to do development. That's the job of the governors and the president. But we have a kitty of CDF that operates within the constituency. And I am involved in identification of what are the projects that we want done this year. And when the projects are being done, when they're being handed over, when contractors are being taken to do that, I am not involved. I'm only involved when the project is over and I'm going to open it. I'm also involved at the beginning where we are identifying the people that will manage the resources on behalf of the rest of us. That's all. The rest of the work is done by other people. Now, my concern is this. That and there are many projects that we do. I mean, toilets all over. The toilet has collapsed, and it will be fixed. A new one will be built. You will never find me there going to open a toilet. You will never ever find me. So the president to go open a bridge. How many bridges do you expect to be built in this country?
Many.
Yeah. So for him to go open a bridge, to find him launching a transformer, honestly, that is politics. It's not really development. So the president should have a scorecard that speaks for itself. And don't forget, the president has got people all over. He's got ministers, he's got PSAs, he's got state officers all over. He can be we want to see him on TV issuing a State of the Nation address from either Parliament or from the office of the president, but then we can see development happening, so we know it's attributed to him, because we're not seeing him on top of his car every day insulting other leaders.
Wanasema chema cha juza. Yeah, you don't need.
You don't need. Yes, that's what they say.
In Kenya, nina chema cha jiuza, lakini mwenye kuuza hicho chema ndio anakumbukwa. Sasa chema cha jiuza, chema cha uzwa.
Chema cha uzwa.
Kenya hii. Because I want to ask you, Mwesh, honestly, do you think when the president comes to open, for example, that market, and we are seeing some of the traders in the market saying, now we are happy that the national government has done this multi-story market and so on and so forth, they'll associate that market with the president. The plaque there will read, this market was opened by William Ruto, President, blah, 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 of the Republic of Kenya. Is that not going to have an impact on the people and the work that the president does? Whether he sits and signs bills and appoints commissions, whether in the morning before coming to open this market, he was having a meeting in the small state lodge somewhere in our locality, and he met ministers and he met with whoever. They'll not remember those things. They'll remember Ruto alitujengea hii market.
Now, Eric Latif, I'll give you an example. I would not have liked to give this example,
please,
because it's very dear to me.
Okay.
My grandfather was a member of parliament for Kadhiani. Before me, long before me, and he also happened to have been the chief of general staff of the armed forces of the Republic of Kenya, and within his period, he did more development than you can imagine, because having the ear of the president at that time when KANU was in power, it was those that were close to the regime that would get support. So we had tarmac roads, we had electricity, we had telephone lines going to the rural constituency. I mean, the only one in Ukambani. We had a huge hospital, huge. Kadhiani General Hospital is a huge hospital.
I saw it.
We had Kadhiani Boys High School. Then it was mixed. Huge school. Now we have Kadhiani Girls. All these things were done under the management of when my grandfather was in power. But when the people decided that KANU had outlived its welcome and they needed to move on, because they felt that we needed to go to multi-party democracy and vote for other people.
Yeah.
He stuck with KANU and he vied for office. And when he went to the people and tried to tell them the things he had done, and this answers your question, and he told them, I brought you tarmac, and they told him, can you roll it and take it away? I've built for you a major hospital. They said, why did you demolish it? I've built for you schools. So sometimes what matters is not those physical things that you do. It is how you make people feel. If you build these huge, hospitals, and you've put tarmac, and then you've killed all our children, how do you expect the parents to feel? That they'll be voting for you because of a road? Yet you killed their children. Their children are not going to school because there's no money. And then you've given them 200 shillings and you want them to clap for you. So there are certain things I think that that the regime is getting wrong.
Right.
And I can tell you, that market, can I tell you, Eric, I want you to look at the transition rate in parliament.
Yeah.
A lot of members lose their seats, isn't it? I mean, sometimes up to 70% lose their seats.
Yeah.
But the people who beat them are not people who have any road they've done or a class they've built. These are members who can be standing and saying, I've built 2 classes there, I've built 5 classes there, I fixed that toilet there, I built this road here. The tangible development, but they're voted out. So
there's something else at play.
So there's something else at play. So when William Ruto comes to our region and he says, I've done this market, I've opened this transformer, this bridge, I can tell you those will not be in the ballot. People will be asking, what kind of president was he? Was he good for the country or not?
When Kalonzo Musyoka hits the campaign trail, he's already, kidogo, but formally hits the campaign trail, whether it's alongside Matiang'i, we'll talk about that later, whoever. You're telling me he won't be saying, mimi nikiingia serikali, nyinyi watu wa Kapsaret, ntawaletea transformer. And then goes to Kadhiani and says, mlisema ni maji ndio shida, say less. Anafika pale Rongai anawaambia, sewage ndio imekuwa ikiwasumbua, inakuja in the next 2 years, and so on and so forth.
Can I tell you, Mariam, that the biggest problem is that that has been the mode of politics in Kenya. But fortunately for Kenyans, William Ruto was an expert at that. So he gave us promises during the last elections. Kenyans are not ready to listen to any further promises because they were told we brought from the bottom up. Hii serikali itakuwa ni ya hustler. The hustler is still hustling. and the person who said, they said, unajua, it's hustlers versus dynasties. What did he do? He went and grabbed all dynasties, and every day he's looking for dynasties to bring them together closer to him. Versus the same hustlers. So, I mean, people will listen to these promises one ear, in one ear, out the other.
Okay.
Because I don't think they believe those promises. So now, we must tell Kenyans, the thing is, it's not about whether we build a road. We are expected to build roads. It's not whether, it is how do we intend to run the country? Do you want to fight corruption? Do you want to create fairness? Do you have to respect for human rights? Do you want to respect for the rule of law? So the basic things, like I've told you what happened in Parliament yesterday. Those are the things that should not happen in a country that believes in the rule of law. You know, court orders are given, they are disrespected. A cabinet minister can come and can write a circular that has the effect of law. And when questioned by Parliament, he says the only one who can overturn this is a cabinet memo. I mean, and that's really totally illegal. So those are the kind of things that we are facing as a country. And so Kenyans will be asking themselves, do we want to continue the status quo where there is no respect for rule of law, where there is where corruption is rampant, where, you know, because development roads, there is no president who will not attempt to do roads. But then what has happened? William Ruto has borrowed all the money that we can get access to for roads and infrastructure already. So I'm even wondering, even if he was to win a second term, what would he do? Because even as we are worried, and because we are taking over in 2027, but the coffers are actually clearly empty. He's borrowed against road maintenance levy fund. Already 50% of that is borrowed against it. So that means you only have 50% of road maintenance levy for the next 10 years. He's borrowed
9 shillings, I think, a litre.
He's borrowed against. He's borrowed, of course,
the sports fund.
You know, he's borrowed against everything.
Yeah.
You know, so even the housing, the promises he was giving all over the place, they are collecting so much money, but the promises are like 10 times more. It's because he's borrowing against what he's collecting.
Let me ask, what's your plan? Because you're right, should you be in government in 2027, those are your loans now.
Yes,
Our loans all collectively.
We will,
one, that's one.
Yes.
Part two, no, actually it was meant to be part one of that question. What does that government look like? Who is number one and number two?
Oh, I don't know who's number two. I just know, for me, the one I would propose. And for your information, that decision hasn't been made. We are still discussing. So I wouldn't want to seem like I've already confirmed. It's not a confirmed thing. But of course, for me, I'm a member of Wiper Patriotic Front. For me, my number one is His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. For me, then whoever comes after that, the coalition can make a decision on that. Of course, everybody from their parties will choose their own number one. But for me, that would be number one. And I'm saying this because he's got the experience. He's got he's been in government. He's got enough experience in government. Having been vice president of Kibaki when Kenya's economy grew by double digits, it's never happened before. It's never happened after. So he has the ability to do the things they did, which were right. Also, you notice when they were in office, they came up with a strategy for the country that ran for many years, Vision 2030. What we are seeing today is that you become president and you want to do everything within 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Because you're looking at the next election. And that's what I keep talking about. But Kalonzo Musyoka will not look at 2032. He becomes president 2027. He'll be looking at Kenya in another 10, 20, 30 years. And that is when you can be able to actually put in place structures and plans that can develop. You cannot change a country in 5 years. You can do that for a company. You know, but you can't do a country. You can't change a country in 5 years. That's why he keeps saying, oh, by the next election, Kenya will be a first world country. We all know that's not going to happen, but he keeps saying it because it sounds good. He tells people things that they want to hear. Because what is his interest? That you listen to me, I am sounding good, I think I know what I'm doing, and therefore you vote for me. But the reality is that for us, number one, Kalonzo. Yes.
Kalonzo has been kind of for half of his political years.
Yes, he has.
Right? So those that are feeling that we need to get out of this Kanuism, because they've been saying Ruto is returning us to Kanuism, they may look at Kalonzo and say, Kalonzo would be perpetuating the Kanuism.
Yeah.
Maybe look for another leader among these united opposition people who has experience, but not Kanuism.
Right. And then there's the other, there's also the other end of, when you say, you know what, he has experience, he's been in government, there are people who are just, especially younger ones, who are like, that is exactly what I don't want to hear, that people have been in government and they're now back on the ballot, because where have they gotten us?
Well, I would tell them that Kalonzo and Kibaki did turn the country around. You remember after the election of Kibaki, the people, even Kenyans, were actually arresting policemen for taking bribes in the streets. There was a feel-good moment for Kenyans within that period of Kibaki, and I think that's a positive. And by the way, if Kenya was to go to that period, we would probably be doing a lot better. We wouldn't be in the streets as much as we are, and wouldn't be complaining throughout as much as we are. We are complaining now because we can see that we are being taken back, not to the Kibaki era, but the Kanu era, and Kanu era when you couldn't speak your voice, you couldn't speak your mind. Because if you did that, then you'd be thrown into detention without trial, like happened to the late Prime Minister Raila. But Latif, I'm just curious. I've seen there's a photo behind you. I don't know whether that was intentional. you know, there's been a talk that my party leader is being wooed. Is being wooed. And then you put a deliberately photo of them smiling at each other. I want to say this is a very old photo.
It's a very old photo.
It's not a current photo. The photo is there to go with what we are talking about. The scramble for Ukambani.
Yeah.
It's either Ukambani, the leader of Ukambani is Kalonzo, and the one who's scrambling to get that influence in Ukambani is the president. So you have the two behind. That's why. I want to ask you a question that's been asked here of you by Charles Dongo. You're saying Kalonzo. Why not Maraga, Okia, Kigame? Why Kalonzo? Don't you see that would come out as you just going for your tribesman?
Well, everybody has a choice, and you are likely to give the choice of the person you understand best. I've not spent time with Maraga. I've not spent time with all these other people that he's talked about, but I have studied Ruto as president. I studied Uhuru as president. I studied Kibaki as president because they were president of the republic, and I know my party leader was vice president, and I've spent time with him. So it's not about tribe. It's about that I've spent more time with him. Had I spent more time maybe with Maraga, I probably would know something about him that would make me think he's the right candidate for this position. But currently, the people in the opposition, I think Kalonzo stands a good chance. But then the verdict is out there. Kenyans have a choice to make a decision on who they think is the best person. I've said Kalonzo is a person who's been not just in government for the sake of it, but all the period he's been in government, he has no scandal. I mean, there are people and I don't want to name names here, but there are people who we vetted them in 2022. Within 6 months or so, somebody was buying a house. They have the total value of their wealth when we were vetting them was about 100 million. Within 6 months, they were having a scandal that you saw in the papers. They're buying a house in Karen for 120 million. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that we ask ourselves, Yeah. So I have a party leader who, despite being in government for the longest, has no scandal to his name. And the only one that they attempted to throw on him was his property in Yatta. And they said he grabbed that land. Kalonzo Musyoka went to DCI and said himself, he presented himself to DCI, not on invitation, but to go and ask DCI to investigate the matter and put it to a close. Because you're saying, I paid for this land and it cannot be used against me every day. And DCI cleared him. So he's the only political leader at that level. Well, there are also others. But I'm just thinking of the person who's been vice president and managed to maintain his dignity and not steal from us.
Through all that political
And that's why people keep saying, oh, he hasn't got money. Why? Because he didn't steal.
Because he's not a thief.
Yeah. They want somebody to steal $1 billion and then share with them $1 million.
As you come to conclude, let's just read some of the comments that have come in. Kelvin Bogo agrees with you. Kalonzo is the right candidate come 2027. He's the diplomatic leader who can transform this nation given a chance. We must fix our nation with the right people. Kevin Mbogwa also earlier had said political class take advantage of people who are not well informed on governance by enticing them with small projects like transformer distribution. People need civic education going forward. I said miss me with that some time back.
You did actually. I hope that we can shift to honestly something more tangible. I don't know what the fix is as far as
more
that
tangible
is
than a transformer.
No, more long-term. Let me put it like that. More long-term thinking as opposed to the tokenism of shika transformer, shika hii barabara,
shika
mia tano. Yes. Thank you so much, Robert, for joining us. We're out of time. We have to go into a break, but we will continue this conversation. And of course, we'd love to also have your party leader on so that we talk about Matters 2027. What's the strategy for getting there? But asante for making time for us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation and TV. We'll be right back. Baraza tunauliza ground iko aje. We want to see if anything has significantly changed in the last 3 or so months as far as the online rhetoric, also the feeling on ground about politics, about governance, about the cost of living, and much more. We'll be back after this.